Greetings and welcome to another Morrowind Mod of the Month video. This time around, we're looking at the best Morrowind mods of June 2016. And as always, I'm your host, Elf Guy, and yes, I know, we're still behind schedule. But you know, we'll catch up eventually. It may take a few years, but you know, we'll eventually get there. And June was actually a pretty big month for Morrowind modding. In total, the community released 55 new Morrowind mods in June, including several pretty big ones that made for a really exciting month overall. It should come as no surprise which mod won our Mod of the Month award. And you know, before we get to that, real quick, you'll find a new online poll down in the video description below, where you can vote for the best mod to July 2016. And you know, in 2 weeks, we'll be back with another episode covering those results. And anyway, as always, you can find the download links for all mods shown down in the video description as well. So let's go ahead and get started. And our Mod of the Month for June of 2016 is none other than the Doors of Oblivion by Danae, aka Ashstaar. And this really shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone that's been paying attention to new mod releases over the past year. The Doors of Oblivion mod was a surprise hit, and probably the biggest hit of the summer, really, I would say. You know, just sort of appearing seemingly out of nowhere with, as far as I know, no work in progress threads or videos announcing it was in development. It just got released one day on the Nexus, and let me tell you, we don't see mods like this, you know, very often, and certainly not just all of a sudden like this with no warning. The Doors of Oblivion, for all intents and purposes, is basically an expansion-sized mod, adding several realms of Oblivion, or at least, you know, small parts of several realms of Oblivion, for you to travel through and explore, including new ingredients, hostiles to face, new quests, dungeons, architecture, towns, villages, dialogue, and lore to read. Like I said, there's an absolute ton of content here, and we already did a pretty good showcase of this mod back in our 51st episode of Morrowind Modding Showcases, so I'm going to be, you know, mostly flying around the landscapes here in this mini showcase. But anyway, the Doors of Oblivion is not only a massive mod, it's also a pretty unique mod, using dozens, if not hundreds, of modders' resources to build these realms, some of which are incredibly obscure. But it's really nice to, you know, see a lot of these resources finally see the light of day to create these various realms of Oblivion, from Sheogorath's Shivering Isles, of Cheeseburger Hollow, to the Coloured Rooms, Clavicus Vile's realm, and even the realm of Hermaeus Mora, which we're showing a little bit of here, though I don't want to, you know, spoil everything. And it probably doesn't look quite as good as the Skyrim version, though I wouldn't really know since I never actually got around to playing that. But you know, it still looks pretty dark and mysterious, and certainly has a lot of character and charm to it. There's also Quagmire, Cold Harbour, and some more realms of Oblivion that you'll get to visit as you do quests, explore dungeons, fight various creatures, and collect the numerous artifacts, unique items, and just strange ingredients that populate these realms. And there's really a lot to like here, and an absolute ton of content to keep you busy. And without question, that's one of the numerous reasons this is our, you know, Mod of the Month pick for June of 2016. And spoiler alert, this will also probably show up again in our top 10 Morrowind mods of 2016 video, airing in January, because of course it's just that good. For our second choice for Mod of the Month, we have A Bard's Life 2 by Danae. And this was, quite honestly, another really big mod that was released in June that really, you know, does a lot of stuff. And again, we did a full showcase of this, I think, in episode 51, so we're going to be, you know, glossing over a lot here with our mini showcase. But, you know, this is basically a large gameplay, immersion, quest, and business mod with a ton of stuff to do. First and foremost, A Bard's Life allows you to play as a bard in Morrowind, with new classes, gameplay traits, and special bardic abilities that can be used in day-to-day activities, and even dungeon delving. Now, you can actually pick up, equip, and play songs with lutes, and this mod actually comes with about 50 or so music tracks that you can play on your lute. Many of them are songs that you'll, you know, eventually learn or find out in the wilderness, or get from other bards in exchange for doing, you know, small side quests or the like. You can even play songs in taverns and a living as a bard. It doesn't really, you know, pay much at first, just about 10 drakes for an hour of playing, enough to pay for a night's room and, you know, not much else. But if you keep at it, you can earn over 100 gold per hour, plus dinner and drinks on the house, and also earn fans that occasionally give you random gifts because, you know, they love your lute playing. And eventually, as you become famous enough, you'll be able to open your own tavern on Lake Amaya in the Ascadian Isles region, and through a fairly lengthy set of quests, upgrade the tavern with tons of new amenities and features, including your own set of armor, a private loft for your use, and rake in the tavern money by bringing in, you know, lots of patrons of your music. and to say the least, this is a really fun and a really great mod to check out, with an absolute ton of content and new features to play. And honestly, if this had been released in some other month, it probably would have been our mod of the month. But since this was a pretty big month for Morrowind mods, it's, merely our second choice, unfortunately. But anyway, next up we have our third and final pick for mod of the month, and this time around we have Sky Diversity by SV Engineer 99. This is another pretty impressive and massive mod. Like I keep saying, June was just a fantastic month for mod releases, and Sky Diversity is a really complicated graphics mod that basically generates new sky textures on the fly and overlays sky textures on top of one another to create more random and unique skies in your Morrowind game. And now we did just, cover this last week actually, so I'm not going to be going into a full rundown on everything like I did in our last showcase. And we're going to, keep this showcase to about 4 minutes long instead of the 9-minute showcase we did before. That said, I want to show off some of the sky breaks here, along with a ton of different weather conditions, and of course, the rainbow generation and the night sky auroras that you can also find at northern latitudes. And we'll also be taking a brief look at the Sky Diversity control menu, which uses a short key that activates a menu from where you can change the weather in any cell that you're in, generate new textures, save the current textures, and a lot more. Again, like last time, I don't have quite enough, really to talk about to fill in the whole 4 minutes here. So I'm going to go a bit silent, but let me just say again, this is a really impressive graphics mod, and I do highly recommend checking it out. Now that you've gotten a bit of a taste of, Sky Diversity, you can probably see why it's our third pick for mod of the month. It does make a pretty big graphical difference with the skies of Morrowind. And that wraps up this episode of our mod of the month series. Don't forget to vote in our new online poll, and I'll see you all in a couple of weeks with our next video.